The Creator may be the sci-fi robotic thriller for director Gareth Edwards' work, but it became a masterpiece. It changed as movies were made. But Dumb Money became the highest score for the critics and audience for this middle finger comedy. This is Ron Movies with Tie Guy 2001, and this is a double review for both The Creator and Dumb Money. It starts now. Hey everybody, welcome back to Ron Movies. I'm your host Tie Guy 2001, and today I'll be doing the double review for both The Creator and Dumb Money. First up is The Creator. Let's start off with these amazing reviews for The Creator. IGN Movies, which is a top critic, it said, as pure spectacle, The Creator is often jaw-dropping in its imagery, its relatively frugal special effects, and the detailed depth of its futuristic design. Its shakers as drama and sci-fi. Digital Spy said about this movie, The Creator is one of the most visually exhilarating spectacles of the year. Even its retro-futuristic epic adventure is far from flawless. AV Club, which is a top critic, it said, with few other comparable releases in play, The Creator is likely to stand as the most impressive and immersive sci-fi movie of the year. Deadline Hollywood Daily said about this movie, it is one of the most thought-provoking movies in some time, one to which attention must be paid. Screen Rant said about this movie, with two heart-wrenching performances at its center, it is emotionally enveloped in the engrossing world that feels a bit too close to home. Austin Burke, Flick Fan Nation, said about this movie, The Creator stands above the most other recent blockbusters when it comes to presentation and atmosphere. Dan Murrell Reviews said about this movie, one of my favorite movies of 2023, an epic sci-fi vision in the tradition of 2001: A Space Odyssey, Blade Runner, Arrival, Children of Men, and Ex Machina. And finally, Fiction Horizon said about this movie, a visually stunning sci-fi epic. And now to the audience. Becky K gave this movie 5 out of 5 and said, something for everyone in this movie. Sci-fi action, original thought-provoking story, emotionally performances, must-see a theater movie of the year. New Pete gave this movie 5 out of 5 and said, saw it in IMAX, loved it. Xander B gave this movie 5 out of 5 and said, what kind of crack were these directors on to make such an epic sci-fi film? Cause I love this film. Dick H gave this movie 5 out of 5 and said, The Creator is modern masterwork of cinematography, emotional, and dazzling visual effects, all wrapped up in one sci-fi package. And Pablo S gave this movie 5 out of 5 and said, it has a little of everything you want in a sci-fi movie, an instant classic. And finally, Austin gave this movie 3 out of 5 and said, I thought overall it was good, just the ending was a little fast. And now next up is Dumb Money. Music City Drive-In said about this movie, Dumb Money is a giant middle finger comedy to establishment that's hilarious and empathetic. Book and Film Globe said about this movie, Dumb Money is the first mainstream movie to show how sad and unfair life really was during COVID. Observer from the UK, which is a top critic, and said, while the film might have slightly deception of the users of the subreddit Wall Street Bets, it is undeniably perceptive about the insidious influence of social media as a whole. MovieFreak.com, which is a top critic, and said, Dumb Money is Gil Campbell's unique hero's journey, and thanks to Daniel, it's one I'm very glad I went on. Real Views, which is a top critic, and said, it's not a bad way to spend a couple of hours, keeping in mind that this fairy tale, like most, has only a tenuous link to reality. Arthouse Film Wire said about this movie, this stock market story is a worthwhile buy, and Daniel is perfectly cast to bring order to the on-screen chaos. CNN, which is a top critic, and said Paul Daniel heads a sprawling cast as the guy leading the rebels with pitchforks on behalf of GameStop, resulting in a film that's smart and satisfying enough to earn every dollar it makes. Real Views said about this movie, explores the universal themes of dreams and ambition while also reminding us that there's a lot of power in the bottom 99%. Breakfast All Day, which is a top critic, it said comparisons The Big Short are inevitable because it is a kind of covering familiar, complicated territory, but director Greg Gillespie make it accessible. And finally, AV Club, which is a top critic, it said smart, playful, and perhaps affectionate to a fault. Gillespie lays in a raging David versus Goliath ripped from the headlines tale that deserves to be seen to be believed. And now to the audience. First up is Kimberly R. Gave this movie 3 out of 5 and said, "It was very interesting movie for sure depending on how true it was. The language though was very raw and I don't feel that was really all necessary. If it wasn't for that, I believe I'd join even more." Mark gave this movie 5 out of 5 and said, "Very interesting view of the world most of us don't understand, very well done." Scott W. gave this movie 5 out of 5 and said, "Great acting, great writing, very recent true story." Kathy B. gave this movie 4 out of 5 and said, "Was a decent movie. Not at all what I expect." And finally, Alan gave this movie 4 out of 5 and said, "Though telling of a true story." And that's probably a quick review, and that's probably a double review for The Creator and Dumb Money. So see both of these movies in theaters this Friday. Before I go, I just want to let you know I'm my very own friend to take over YouTube. So this October, I'm taking the whole month off. I'll be heading all the way to South Carolina and relax for the whole October. So I want you guys to meet my very own friend. Hey everybody, it's me, Invisible Guy 2001, and I'll be taking over Ty Guy 2001's YouTube channel for October. And that's right, it'll be called Ron/Scary Movies. I'll be talking about new upcoming movies, including The Exorcist, Five Nights at Freddy's, and the new Saw movie, which comes out this Friday. And stay tuned for that. And that's right, Ty Guy 2001 will be taking the whole month off of October, and he will see you guys very soon on November. So that's all. I'll see you guys next week. Bye!